So, everybody, welcome to the Second Draft Zoomcast. This is a podcast about reinvention, rediscovery, reset from a group of high-performing individuals that find themselves in, unscripted grounds of rediscovering and resetting their life. So, guys, let's jump in. And straight away, since we're talking about rediscovery at a certain period of in time in our lives after, successful careers. So, what was that moment for you that you felt you needed a change? Sandra, let's start with you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sandra. I'm currently living just outside of Munich in Germany, although I'm an expat and not from here. And my moment came over time, I would say, where I was doing research. I didn't feel completely fulfilled by my previous career, which was in healthcare, and I wanted to connect more on a personal level with people. And coaching didn't jump out at me for immediately. And after doing some research, I thought this is a step into perhaps something new. And once I joined the course, I was really happy about my decision. And I feel like it's something that I kind of wish I'd started earlier, but I'm really happy to be here where I am now.
Right, so we're all rediscovering ourselves as coaches, but not just. Alex, let's go to you.
Thanks, Tanya. I'm Alex. I live in Germany, just outside Frankfurt, and just like Sandra, I am also an expat. So, in fact, we're both from South Africa originally. So, my turning point was I'd been in a very successful HR career for a number of years, and my role was really starting to feel quite stale. And I felt that I needed to do something different. And I was obviously aware of coaching, and I thought I needed to really upskill my coaching skills. And I did the training through IPEC. And I think what's happened is that's opened a whole lot of new opportunities for me. A lot has since happened since we did the training course. And having done the coaching, it's allowed me to have a very different perspective on the change that I'm going through.
That is so amazing. Maria, what about you? We're continuing with the somewhat German part of the cohort.
Well, German. I'm living in Switzerland. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm Swiss by now, but I've lived in 5 different countries. For me, rediscovery came when I realized that while I had many successes at work, I was not fulfilled. There was something missing, and I wanted to find out what is missing, why I'm not happy anymore, even though, money was growing, recognition was growing, blah, blah, blah. I realized that I'm not happy. So I want to find my purpose, my happiness. And coaching is only a part of it, a very important one, where I found a purpose, how to connect with people, but so much more than that.
Right. And Stefanos?
Yeah, I'm also in Switzerland, like Maria. So yeah, for me, like the story is that
And also not Swiss, but originally.
not
Exactly.
Swiss, Greek. So yeah, like the story for me is like I always was interested about psychology and like the human-centric approach about people. And I really lived in my life like situations where I felt that I really could help people. But most importantly, I could also help me using coaching skills. So for me, it was like doing that coaching certificate was really helping me a lot, like personally, but also like helping others. So like sky is the limit. Like we're here like to go further.
Okay, so Nutsa is just you and me, and both not expats.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Nutsa. My heart is beating really, really fast right now because I'm very excited about this Zoomcast. So I'm actually from Georgia and I live in Georgia, Georgia country. And how I found out this journey of coaching is a little bit different. I heard this sentence, you're not qualified for US visa for 5 times. And I was like, okay, I am sure that document-wise, everything is perfect. So there should be something bigger than that, a bigger reason. So I started seeing a coach. And actually, I don't know, like on my third session, I thought that I want to do the same thing. I want it to be my profession. I want to share with people that all the key to our best life that we want to achieve is in our hands, but sometimes we choose not to see it. So I really wanted to transfer that with my potential future clients. So I decided to go into coaching, dive into coaching fully. And I'm here now. I'm very, very happy. Thankful to those rejections. They still continue. It's my ninth now. So it just only tells me that there's an even bigger reason behind it. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I am so obsessed with those rejections. You have no idea. Gosh, makes me actually somewhat thankful that I never really applied because I hate rejections.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm actually thankful to those because of those rejections. I'm here with you guys, with IPAC and everything. So I'm really, really, I can say thank you out and loud to those rejections.
Right. So my name is Tatiana, and I am from Russia. I live in Russia right now, which is basically the reason, we're doing this over Zoom, and we were so obsessed with the name Zoomcast is because we're all in very different places, basically all over the European part of the continent, and yet here we are all together discussing stories that unite not just us, but so many other people as well. So I am a former high-profile journalist, and I actually did not plan on being a coach at all. It kind of found me at a crossroads. I was out of a project, just finished one project, had launched my business in the background, and was kind of living through a huge change in my relationship with my business partner because of personally the changes that I had been going through after having spent a year in the Middle East. And I kind of just felt like I needed to systematize all of those changes because there was so much changing in my perception of life, in how I was living through things. And I had one friend, and I still have a friend, that same friend who is a coach, who went through IPAC as well. And we kind of had that I think that was one of the people who I always respected a lot, personally and professionally. And we were kind of always going parallel courses. When I was in France, she was also in France with her family. So I talked to her, went in for the first module, and then kind of couldn't leave, partly thanks to Alex. Who was just like, "Are you going all the way?" And I was like, "Well, no." But yeah, could not leave because I felt like, however corny that still sounds, even to me, that I felt like this is something that I'm actually meant to do. Um, so, and this is from here, this is my question to you guys. For me, for instance, the massive part of why coaching felt like such a beautiful transition, not touching upon the fact that, I was always obsessed with psychology. I was always very kind of, maybe frustrated that I never did psychology, never studied it. But also my previous career, I felt bored in it. I felt like I'd done everything that I wanted to. It was not exciting anymore. Nothing felt new. Nothing felt like I needed to learn, to grow, to evolve. So it was very easy, all the drama aside, to make that switch. How was it, what was that moment of leaving your previous life, leaving that career behind, how did it feel?
Hmm.
Oh,
That's a
I'll,
very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
Alex, go ahead, go ahead.
thanks, Nitsa. I'll start. I had a plan. I love my plans, and I had a plan of how this was all going to work, and it didn't go according to plan because there was a twist in the tail. My role became redundant, and then there was suddenly this opportunity that I actually hadn't considered. And it was quite strange because about literally just after I'd done my first course or first module, my previous boss said to me, "So are you going to do this full time?" And I said to her, "No, no, no, no. This is something for down the line. I want to build a little practice and something I can do when I retire, which is a long way away." And it wasn't something I'd considered seriously. And I think with the change in my circumstances, that suddenly it has changed the way that I'm looking at moving forward. And it's changed the way that I'm thinking about work generally. And does it need to be full-time work? Is there an opportunity to have a blend of how I spend my days? So that's my story.
Nota?
Well, I'm actually continuing my previous career, but what I love the most in this journey is I really, and maybe it sounds a little corny, but I have a new lens on how I look at everything now because of these three modules, because of this community, because of you guys, and yeah, because of coaching. And and thinking that it can also be my profession, just I don't know, it makes me I don't even know what to call that emotion. It's I strive to have this inner fulfillment, so I think I can say that I'm completely sure that I'm on that journey right now, because it really empowers me every day to know that this new lens can also pay me, and I can I can earn money from that, because I'm loving it even without that part, because this new lens for me for life, it's a really eye opener, and I've transformed a lot in this, I don't know, year and a half. So plus added to that it can be my profession, full-time profession. I'm really on that journey to have that inner fulfillment that I strive to have. So yeah, that's my story.
That is so beautiful. And I think that, you touched upon something so important, how much for us, for people who go through this training, um, we know how powerful coaching is because we experience it. And
Yeah.
then you know how it works. So for me, I hadn't discovered coaching before. I was never coached. I didn't fully understand what it was, which is true for so many people as well. Um, Sandra, I know you're also still doing some of your old work.
Mhm.
So how, it's not even how does it feel, how difficult is it? Because I know for Alex and me, it was a very different situation. Like I was already doing that, when I was thrown out of my previous work for, for whatever reason just happened. And then Alex kind of went through something similar, it just happened, and then you're sitting there thinking, okay, so I have this new part. Why won't I take it? Maybe I should. So how does that transition feel from the other side of the spectrum? Is it difficult to leave it behind or?
So my situation is actually quite unique because I moved to Germany 10 years ago now. And at the time I was married. And 2 years later, I got divorced, which was really difficult doing that in a foreign country. And my background is that I'm a pharmacist. So I wasn't registered in Germany to work as a pharmacist. And I didn't need to work. I could work part-time, that was fine. But then following the divorce, my situation obviously changed. And I also didn't have fluent enough German to apply the process of becoming a pharmacist. So it has taken a while. And so I am currently pursuing my pharmacy registration in Germany. I've done the language exams and I'm working in a role where I can progress onto that. So when I discovered coaching, I had just moved into this position. So my idea at the time, and it still is to do a hybrid kind of coaching, freelancing, and then having this position where I'm working towards my registration as a pharmacist in Germany. So sometimes it feels like there's a connection in some ways because I've always been a person who wants to help others, and I love helping others and seeing them benefit from that. So this is kind of also what drew me into coaching. And if some of the situations where I've been able to help people, it really resonates with me. But I've also learned a lot about what coaching is, and it's not about giving advice. It's not about mentoring, all of that stuff. So another aspect of my future that I see is that I'm an artist. I do that as I've sold some of my work, and I do that as a hobby as well. And through that work of painting and creating, it really helped me through a difficult stage of my post-divorce time. And I also want to bring that to other people to help them see how that can help you.
That's so great. Right. So Maria and Stefanos, I think both of you did a somewhat of a clean break as well, kind of, just done with it and let's go, let's launch in that unknown. And guys, the reason I'm pressing you about this is because I think that for so many people, that is something very relatable, where you want to do something else, you want to do something new. It is so scary. I'll say it openly. I was petrified because, again, one of my projects had ended and I was stuck in negotiations for a new job in my previous profession, but the market is terrible. The job market is just horrendous.
Yeah.
And I think it's as much true for Europe as it is for Russia. And then, you find yourself in that spot where as a person coming from a corporate structure, the thought of going entrepreneurial is crazy. It sounds like the scariest thing you'd ever think of.
Very true.
Go on, Stefanos.
So yeah, I mean, like also for me, as you exactly described the situation, but to me, like it was more like the spark of really want to do something different because everything was around, let's say, human-centric. So for me, it was really like supporting people, being there, like learning new skills, and that with with a certificate with that we done, like it's like really helped me to discover more of myself and really like work on this. So yeah, like despite of being in that new environment out of your waters, still like it gave a lot of opportunities to to go to that new environment, explore, learn more about yourself, see like what other things that the world has to offer. And for me it's like amazing. It's really nice.
Maria, last but not least.
No, and it is a journey, and I don't see. Look, I was for a long time not happy, and it was obvious. I discussed it with colleagues, I discussed it with my boss, I discussed it with my husband, obviously, my family. I was looking for a long time to do something different, and I knew it. I knew it from, I don't know, childhood or something, that I'm too energetic to, when I retire, to stop working.
Yeah.
And I knew at some point that I will change my career. It was in my mind. Like, at some point, I'm not going to be, because I have been working in industrial, research for a very famous international high impact technology company. And it was great. Don't take me wrong. I loved it. But at some point, I realized that technology is great, and the metrics of success are great, but I wanted more, and I didn't know what. Honestly, no idea. It took me a long time, and after lots of discussion with many people, what I'm good at, what they like from me, very often came mentoring, because it's something I always love to do, mentoring and consulting. So I didn't want to do consulting because, again, too technical. I wanted something more personal. And then somebody told me, what about coaching? And as an executive, I had executive coaching. As a professional, I had executive coaching. Yeah. And I loved it. So I said, no, let me try it. I was kind of, yeah, let's see if it works or it doesn't. And I started that while I was working. And I have to admit, from the beginning, it was a beautiful experience. Number one, because the one thing that I learned is that through learning coaching or taking the courses, I started to realize who I am, what things I like, what do I want. And it was part of the journey. And then I started also giving, already from the very first biofoundational certificate that we got as a recommendation, started to give like pro bono coaching, and seeing the impact, even from me, an unexperienced learning, whatever, seeing the impact both to me, but also to the other people. And every session, the big difference, 1 hour, how much 1 hour can actually change the life of other people. This is an amazing gift, because if you work in research, the results come many years later. But that is 1 hour. And within an hour, there are so many aha moments that, my heart just, and I'm hooked to it. I cannot stop.
Yeah.
The benefits, and we both grow, both the clients, and I mean, this amazing group, it's a growth journey. It's an amazing, beautiful, wonderful journey. And I'm not changing with anything. I don't know what will happen later, but now I have fun. And thank you guys. Thanks to all.
Thank
you. Yeah.
But I have to admit, I have to be honest also as well. I don't know what would we've done otherwise, but I need to be also honest with myself. Being financially dependent is always part of the core values and needs. And being supported, I'm married, so my husband said, go for it. I'm behind you, my family. But also getting from my boss, who also said, you would be great in consulting. Why don't you do it? And having a nice package, that was not a bad. So I have to admit, right? I didn't just jumped and say, okay, now I'm penniless. We have to be honest here. But I think, I'm not sure what I will do, but looking back, it worth it. Absolutely. And of course, I'm not where I was with Saladin. Forget about that.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I mean, there's.
Yeah.
Beyond.
And when I say yet, I say that to myself as well, kind of convincing myself, because I will be completely honest. I think my salary dropped exactly 10 times from last year. That it wasn't always that much, but it was, the funniest thing is that when I just started, and the crisis that I kind of found myself, the internal crisis with understanding that at a top level, at a certain moment in time, and I've seen this a lot over LinkedIn, people struggling with finding top positions because they're just not enough available on the market right now. And people looking for a job for a year, for 6 months, and which sounds like, for me, for instance, it's been the first time in 15 years where I found myself out of a job in general. Like I've never been out of a job for over 2 weeks. So it was a crazy experience. And but then I found myself in such a weird kind of reality where the jobs that I was being offered were so much kind of lower grade than what I was not even like looking for, but what I was overqualified for them to begin with. And then so I realized at one point that if I sit back and pay myself a similar salary from my savings and not go for 8 hours a day, like doing something that I've done so many times before. I don't need to go through this again, and I don't want to, quite honestly, to go through this whole process of proving that, that you're actually qualified in a specific. But for me, that's a very special circumstance because for an international journalist, the pool in Russia is kind of very narrow.
Mm.
But also, with all of the changes that we've gone through for the past years, and it just ultimately didn't seem exciting anymore. And I wanted that excitement, even if it came with financial restrictions, with like somewhat of an austerity period. I felt like Greece in 2010 and 11, 12, kind of put into austerity by the German government. Sometimes protesting, sometimes with burning tires internally. But yeah, and I've seen that in clients, in people who I know who kind of commented, who were aware of my journey and was like, "Okay, you're so brave." And I just wanted to kind of somehow tell them that, guys, I'm not brave. I'm afraid. I'm nervous all the time.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, and like at some point, Sandra was my coach, Alex was my coach. Uh, Happily enough for the three remaining people in this group, you were never my coaches, so you didn't face the whole kind of like. I mean, the amount of times that I told Alex, like, you know
We
what,
had group sessions, Tanya,
I'm
don't
afraid
forget
to
it.
live under a bridge. I just am. I did say that. Like I sometimes woke up thinking it 3 times a week.
Mhm.
And that's okay. So, that's what I wanted to shout from rooftops, it's okay. Yes, it is scary, but it's okay. And that's how you grow, going through this, although it's scary. So,
I think you're absolutely right. And I think my perspective on this is actually going through the coach training process. As one of you said, and I think it was Maria, you really get to know yourself. And all of a sudden, that facade that you've had for years, which as a result of working in a corporate environment, is pulled back. And you're suddenly faced with the things that are actually really valuable to you. So what is it that you value? And I think that changes, for me, it definitely changed my thinking. And it changed my thinking in a way that I don't know, that I really enjoy working with people. I really enjoy seeing people grow. And I'd had that opportunity in my previous roles, but I see an even greater opportunities being offered through coaching.
Yeah.
Maria, you've been nodding this whole time.
Yeah, I'm so resonating with Alex right now. It's exactly making conscious choices. You mentioned that also, Tanya. Do you choose to be financially safe, or do you choose to follow your heart, your dreams?
Yeah.
Do you choose to follow the structure, or you trust the process? It's all about choices in the end, conscious choices. And this is something that we learn and become much more aware in this journey through IPEC, but in the coaching, but it's behind in our mind, which is not visible. And coaching for me became like this magnifying glass that you say, aha, yes, it was there all the time. I was not fully aware of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every time I feel, wow, believe me, it's there, uncomfort, yes, but this is how we grow.
Right.
We don't grow by doing the same things. We grow by, stepping in the mat and figuring out, does it serve me or not? Is this really a mat, or is something that somebody else said is a mat? And then we find the gold hidden there and we go forward. And, one day, who knows what will happen? But at the moment, I have fun. My heart bleeds. is where I'm happy.
That's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I think also a lot of people out there are in a position where they feel they can't make changes in their lives.
Mm.
Like, this
Mm.
is my situation, all these external factors, finances is often a big one. I can't change jobs. I can't
Mm.
get out of a relationship, or whatever the situation is. I can't do it because of this, that, or the other. And the course of coaching and everything, our journey has taught us that everything is a conscious choice.
Mm.
Yeah.
Everything we have in our lives is, we can change it if we want to. It's
Yeah.
not easy. It's often not easy, but it can be done if we want to.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I also became quite attached to my previous title of what my career as a pharmacist did. It was like, that's who I am. But actually, it's not who I am. I'm
Oh,
Sandra. I'm many other things other than that.
yes.
And I have to let go of that in order to be able to fully embrace a new career.
Mm.
Can I
Definitely.
add something to that? Or if somebody else wants to say something, I'm happy to give my place.
So sure, Maria, you can go. I can go after you.
What I learned as well is that we have so many assumptions as well. We assume that people will react this way. We assume that this will be bad. And for example, like attachment and responsibilities, I see that with my kids. The more freedom I give them, the more powerful and independent and stronger they become. Before I used to control everything. The more risk I take, the more they learn out of me. So there are lots of things. And also we assume that we know everything and that, there are all sorts of restrictions and burdens and negativities and so on that, are in our minds. They are real, are they?
Mm.
By doing that, as Sandra said also, and by taking the risk, we just learn that many things they are just in our mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Stefano, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's no, it's totally right what you're saying, and I like really to similarize like this effort, like creating, let's say, building a new body, like a fit body. In the very beginning, you have like all sorts of different like negative thoughts. No, I will never make it. Like it's too tough. Like you compare yourself with others as well. You say, look how the others are, and all of this like negative talking that we do to ourselves. And being consistent, believing in yourself, and trusting the process is what really matters, what really makes difference. Because at the very end, you're gonna see actually yourself changing
Yeah.
internally and as well externally. And that's something that you usually like summarize with the coaching, like the personal development. You really like need to get wet and yeah. You
Mm.
get like your hands dirty until you really arrive to the level that you understand who you are being in that situation, which is
Mm.
definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's so.
Mm.
Yeah, I just want to say that I agree with you. And what I'm hearing is that we all enjoy this journey because we are exploring who we really are, and we're enjoying that. And that's, I think, the one of the most important gifts that coaching gave us, right? Because I don't know, we like what I'm hearing from your stories and my story as well. Like, it's really enjoyable to start the journey of rediscovering and exploring who you really are, and you start listening to yourself more. And one more thing, what I got from coaching is that every day I try to live and enjoy the process, the present moment. Like, it's so liberating, and it makes life actually easier when I try and work on that. Not all the time, of course. I am under stress, and in that minute I start to worry about future and regret past. But I remember that I have the knowledge to enjoy the present moment, and it really supports me to progress and to go forward. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
So that's actually so powerful, Nita, because something that I heard from my mother actually about a week ago when we have a special relationship, and she told me something that really struck a very specific nerve. She was like, okay, you know what? Everybody's overstressed. That's normal. That's how life is. Like like struggling, suffering. We're supposed to suffer. And that just felt so wrong to me, because yes, we're under a lot of stress, but we don't need to be under the stress that we can take away from our lives. We're not meant to suffer. It's a choice that you make. It's a choice that you make to suffer because what everybody else is suffering, or because, well, I don't like my job. Well, nobody likes their job. That's why I'm staying in that job. No, that's not true. That is so not true. I mean, I was lucky enough or conscious enough, to whom, how, but I loved my job. And it
Yeah.
was the moment when I realized that I like it sometimes, I don't love it anymore. That love has kind of gone.
Yeah.
That this shift that was already happening, quite honestly, it was already happening. That was the moment when I embraced it, when I realized that, okay, so well, maybe I don't need to look for another position in the job that I no longer love. And I don't feel excited about it. And I feel like I have to suffer through a day. And that is, I think that there's such a common interpretation or misconception that, that you're supposed to suffer through things, when in fact, you can just discover what you actually do love. And maybe
Yeah.
that might be a more fulfilling, a more kind of a life where you don't have to struggle and be overstressed, over triggered every single moment of that day.
Yeah. And can I just add a little bit?
Sure.
It's the question is how much time do we spend in that suffering or in that stress? That is our choice. Because it's completely normal to struggle, to be in a bad mood, to be sad. We cannot be happy all the time. Our cheeks will hurt, right? So it's our choice. How much time do we spend in that state of suffering? So, yeah.
Right, guys, we've agreed that we're going to keep these to under 40 minutes, which we have, and I'm very happy about that. So, this is the second draft Zoomcast. Stick with us, subscribe, follow, leave your comments, leave your questions. We're going to be discussing all things that come with rediscovering your new career, for us in coaching, but it could be anything else just as well, in the following episodes.